Live from Texas, this is the Will Cain Show, and this is a Fox News alert. We have a problem, America. We are living through a scourge of left-wing political violence that 3 weeks into this month has made it Bloody September. Today, another attack on ICE. 3 people shot, 1 killed at a Dallas facility this morning. All 3 were detainees inside a law enforcement van. Right now, the FBI is looking into this as a targeted attack. One pretty damning piece of evidence shared by FBI Director Kash Patel, quote, while the investigation is ongoing, an initial review of the evidence shows an ideological motive behind this attack. One of the unspent shell casings recovered was engraved with the phrase anti-ICE. More updates will be forthcoming. Anti-ICE, the latest engraving on a bullet meant for an ideological opponent. From Minnesota to Utah to now today in Texas. It's pretty hard to read this than any other way but that we have a crisis of violence brought on by a crisis of rhetoric in our politics. And it has to stop. Fascist, Nazi, authoritarian, Gestapo, secret police. These are just some of the phrases used by high-profile Democrat politicians across the last several years that has resulted in the brainwashing of a gullible population now bent and mobilized into violence. Stop now. Stop Jasmine Crockett. Stop AOC. Stop Ilhan Omar. Stop Gavin Newsom. But for you, it is already too late. Because for anyone that for the past couple of years, and even in the most recent of days, has been calling their opponent authoritarians or been calling ICE the Gestapo, you no longer have a legitimate seat at the American political conversation table. Vice President J.D. Vance laid that out this afternoon.
You don't have to agree with my immigration policies. You don't have to agree with Donald Trump's immigration policies. But if your political rhetoric encourages violence against our law enforcement, you can go straight to hell and you have no place in the political conversation of the United States of America. When Democratic politicians incur doxing, when they encourage us to unmask ICE enforcement officers, what do you think is going to happen? Political violence has gotten out of control in this country. We got to stop it. We got to condemn it. And that starts, unfortunately, at the very top of the Democratic Party.
Straight to hell and no place at the conversation table of American politics. Yes, I'm angry because we wake up every other day now with a targeted political assassination. But I'm not the only one who's fed up. So is ICE.
This is the second time I've had to stand in front of you and talk about a shooter at one of my facilities. And I think that the takeaway from all of this is that the rhetoric has to stop. It's just got to stop. It's dangerous, and people are losing their lives.
You don't have to be reminded, but maybe it escaped your attention as recently as last night on Stephen Colbert, California Governor Gavin Newsom has ensured that he cannot be taken seriously. That yes, no, in fact, Governor, you are guilty of hyperbole, but you're guilty of much more. It's now clear you're guilty of inspiring violence.
ICE, unmask. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? You're going to go out and you're going to do enforcement? Provide an ID. Tell us which agency you represent. Provide us basic information that all local law enforcement is required to provide.
There, on Saturday, he asks, what are you afraid of? Here's an idea, Governor. Why don't you ask an ICE agent? I could offer up several in Dallas who might be ready to answer that question of what is the basis of that fear. But I mentioned he did it last night on Colbert.
People ask, well, is authoritarianism, you're being hyperbolic? We're being hyperbolic. I mean, if some guy jumped out of an unmarked car in a van with a mask on, tried to grab me, I mean, by definition, you're going to push back. And so these are not just authoritarian tendencies. These are authoritarian actions by an authoritarian government.
he doesn't even believe those words. He doesn't live inside of The Handmaid's Tale, but he's created a virtual reality with his words that an insane population, or better yet, a normal population that his words have made insane, are ready to believe that everyone who disagrees with them and law enforcement are a threat to their existence. So I can't yell stop at Gavin Newsom. His identity is built on this virtual reality. I know, as you know, that won't be, no matter what happened this morning in Texas, the last we hear from Newsom. And honestly, it's not just about Newsom. I would love to use my monitors, all three of the big ones on the wall, or I'd love to fill the screen of your television right now with every Democrat who is called a Republican or ICE, the Gestapo, the secret police, authoritarians, or Nazis. But I don't have enough room. There wouldn't be a TV screen big enough. There's not wall space for it to be comprehensive enough. I do have this. I have just a sampling for you. This is just a few who have said, by the way, there's no way that we should have masked agents in ICE.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
Folks getting snatched off the street by secret police who are wearing masks.
The question is, if everything is legitimate and proper, why are you wearing masks to hide your face?
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that.
The bill is actually pretty straightforward. You know, no face coverings, no masks, with certain exemptions to that.
The old films of the Gestapo grabbing people off the streets of Poland, and you compare them to those nondescript thugs who grabbed that student, that graduate student, it does look like a Gestapo operation.
We're seeing these masked agents roaming around like bank robbers, roaming around like Antifa.
As somebody who understands history, when I see ICE, I see slave patrols.
You know, we should and we will, over the course of time and over the course of the next hour, look into places where radicalization takes place. We should look into these Reddit forums where people begin to use the exact language that is inspired by these politicians. And we could look at, and we will look at today, where and how Antifa and formalized leftist violence comes together. But make no mistake, that conversation is inspired by the people you just saw on your screen. I am often very reluctant to say that violent actions of an individual is predicated by the rhetoric of a politician some thousands of miles away. But we are not in a normal America. We don't go by a week without having another example of left-wing political violence, another assassination. And at some point, these people must be held accountable. Yes, they should be banished from the conversation, but those that are left, those that are responsible, have to stop. And I ask you today, who is left that is responsible? I ask that with an open mind, a curious heart. Who is sane on the left? What Democrat is ready to look at this clown show that is now inspiring violence and say that will no longer speak for us who simply disagree? Gavin Newsom asks, what are ICE agents afraid of? The answer, Governor, is this. This is what they are afraid of. The suspect in today's attack identified as 29-year-old Joshua John. He died after his attack today from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. But this story is bigger than today because we're both afraid. You and I, the story will be back again tomorrow, just like it was here 2 weeks ago with the murder of Charlie Kirk. And it makes you put everything into this larger context. I thought Daily Wire commentator Matt Walsh put it very well today on X. Imagine that we had a Democrat administration. Now imagine that a right-wing radical shot and killed one of the most influential liberals in the country on live TV. Now imagine that thousands of other conservatives shamelessly celebrated the assassination and called for more of them. Now imagine that in the same week, another right-winger shot up a country club while shouting MAGA, and another one shot up a news station and left behind a manifesto complaining about liberal bias in the media. Now imagine that a week after all those attacks, a conservative sniper perched on a rooftop fired into a Planned Parenthood clinic, killing or injuring multiple people. And imagine that that Planned Parenthood attack was just the latest in a string of them, stretching back several months.
Want even more Fox News on YouTube? Become a Fox News Patriot today. Click join to find out how.